Hello, my name is Major General Pat Murphy, the Adjutant General of New York. I am proud to lead the men and women of the New York Military Forces, the Army National Guard, the Air National Guard, the New York Naval Militia, and the New York Guard. These men and women, your neighbors, your friends, serve the people of New York and those of the United States, here at home and around the world, in times of peace and in times of war. A recent Gallup poll survey found that 78% of Americans consider the military to be one of America's most trusted professions. This video will give you an idea of what the New York Military Forces do on a regular basis to earn that trust. I am extremely proud of the men and women of the New York Military Forces. In the past year, they have fought overseas, helped their neighbors here at home, and worked hard to modernize the force. Our soldiers and airmen continue to excel. Their accomplishments demonstrate that they are America's most trusted. In 2011, nearly 4,000 members of the New York Military Forces responded to hurricanes and flooding. They airlifted over 45,000 pounds of food and water. They drove 140,000 miles and accomplished more than 260 individual missions. Brigadier General Mike Sweezy, the commander of Joint Task Force Irene, served as our dual status commander, enabling him to command both Title 32 and Title 10 forces if needed.
General Murphy and the Guard, we thank them very much for their service and for their sacrifice. We will be deploying over 1,000 members of the Guard down to the New York City, Long Island area, Brooklyn, Westchester, and the Catskills, because this is a large area of impact. So we thank them very much for the sacrifice that they're making and their service. They're prepared, they're ready, they're briefed, and they'll be on their way shortly.
The response to Hurricane Irene represented the New York National Guard at its best. Every member of our team played a vital role as we pulled together as one to help the people of New York. Army and Air Guard members rescued residents from rising floodwaters and flooded buildings. They rebuilt roads, they evacuated citizens, they provided emergency communications and staffed emergency shelters, organized civilian volunteers for cleanup missions, and delivered critical supplies. Army and Air helicopter crews, pararescue jumpers, and state police rescue teams ran integrated flight and rescue operations. The New York Naval Militia mobilized 200 members for duty and secured Schenectady's water treatment plant. The New York Guard provided support to temporary shelters in New York City and staffed the Task Force Irene headquarters and life support cell. The people of New York benefited by having a well-equipped, ready, and able team from the New York National Guard, and were able to respond to help the governor and the people of New York.
Across the state, our Air National Guard men and women continue to demonstrate they are America's most trusted.
It's been a monumental year here at the 105th Airlift Wing at Stewart. For the first 6 months, we flew C-5 missions into Southwest Asia in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and New Dawn. Then in early August, we received our first 2 C-17 aircraft. We had a tremendous rollout ceremony, and we initiated our C-17 conversion. We're also very proud of our Security Forces Squadron with their new mission. They're the only Air Reserve Component Security Forces Squadron integrating with the active duty. Their mission is to go outside the wire and defend bases in Southwest Asia. We're very excited about our performance in Hurricane Irene with our state mission. We were a distribution center here at Stewart for FEMA supplies. We massed over 100 ambulances here at the base, and we deployed over 50 personnel to help and assist in the rescue operations. Overall, a tremendous year for the 105th, and we're very, very proud of our folks here.
A few of our wing highlights from 2011 include a successful deployment downrange of our civil engineers. They were deployed to Kuwait in support of Operation New Dawn. Our security forces were also deployed for most of 2011 in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, serving in teams in Afghanistan. We also had several small teams of Guardian Angels deployed to the CENTCOM AOR. The wing supported NASA's shuttle program as it came to an historic close. In August, we culminated a year-long planning effort, hosting the Domestic All Hazards Response Team, composed of several hundred National Guard from the 42nd Infantry Division headquarters The Dart East exercise provided timely and valuable training as Hurricane Irene and Tropical Storm Lee would be forming in the Atlantic in short time. The wing was proud to serve and participate in multiple joint life-saving missions in the capital region as well as later during Lee and the Binghamton area. Our folks responded admirably to the Governor and TAG's call to assist.
Let me tell you about some of the outstanding accomplishments of the fantastic airmen of the 107th. April 1st, we became operationally capable after our conversion to the C-130. That May, 130 aircrew and maintainers deployed to Bagram Air Force Base, Afghanistan. During their 90-day deployment, they flew 1,144 combat sorties, moved over 26,000 troops, and hauled over 5,300 short tons of cargo. During this same period, the maintainers generated 2,700 sorties for 37,000 passengers, moving 7,500 short tons of cargo. 21 members of the Civil Engineer Squadron deployed throughout Iraq to continue additional construction and facility upgrades. In August, the 107th, along with the rest of the New York National Guard team, answered the call during Hurricane Irene, sending 46 airmen downstate and an additional 62 remained at home station to handle hurricane evacuation needs as aircraft from throughout the state came to Niagara to avoid damage.
This last year began, as all of our years do, with 109th deployed to the Operation Deep Freeze Theater in Antarctica. In addition to flying over 3,000 hours and transporting over 10 million pounds of cargo and 2,200 passengers, we completed end-stage testing of our 2 major aircraft improvement initiatives. And we demonstrated the capabilities of our ops and maintenance group in the world's harshest operating environment. On the day that we returned from Operation Deep Freeze, our first planes departed for our other annual operational deployment to Operation Raven Dew in Greenland, where we flew 7 rotational periods in support of the National Science Foundation and the international science community. And we hosted the Air Mobility Command Inspector General team, where our support group, med group, as well as our ops group and maintenance group demonstrated our ability to survive and operate in a combat environment. We opened the Air National Guard's first wellness center to provide for the emotional, spiritual, social, and physical well-being of our people. At the 109th Airlift Wing, we continue to stand ready to provide world-class support from pole to pole and from sand to snow.
Well, welcome to the 174th in Hancock Field. Like most units around the state, 2011 was an extraordinarily productive and busy year as well. We safely flew in excess of 5,000 hours in both the MQ-9 as well as the RC-26B in support of combat operations in Iraq as well as in Afghanistan. For the first time, we flew an MQ-9 from Fort Drum, and we continue to fly that airplane in terms of daily operations for training, and we stand by and ready to support the Governor for aid to civil authorities. We stood up the MQ-9 Flying Training Unit. The Maintenance Schoolhouse, our MQ-9 FTD, produced over 240 students, maintenance professionals this year, including for the first time 4 Italian students. We were also able to stand up our Joint Health and Wellness Center. The Triple Deuce Command and Control Squadron continues to support their space partner and National Reconnaissance Office. The 152nd Air Operations Group deployed 35 airmen in support of Libyan combat operations. The 274th Air Support Operations Squadron deployed to the National Training Center with the 27th Brigade Combat Team in preparation for their upcoming combat deployment.
There is no better example of America's most trusted than the Eastern Air Defense Sector, where we monitor and defend the Eastern U.S. airspace all day, every day. One of our major 2011 accomplishments validated the high level of trust that EADS has earned. In March, EADS added detachments at the Joint Air Defense Operations Center in Washington, D.C. and the National Capital Region in Virginia. These additions formalized the critical role EADS has always played in the integrated air defense of the National Capital Region and improved the training and educational opportunities of our airmen stationed there. EADS flawlessly protected more than 60 presidential air movements, the State of the Union Address, the United Nations General Assembly, 3 space shuttle launches, and the 9/11 10th anniversary commemoration. We did all this while conducting our regular work, which involved identifying and monitoring more than 66,000 potential violators of flight-restricted areas.
This was a remarkable year for the 42nd Division. Here in New York, there were a lot of groundbreaking events, starting in July when we conducted the pre-mobilization training for the 27th Brigade up at Fort Drum. And I would say that after 10 years of conducting training for National Guard soldiers getting ready to deploy, we saw a textbook solution as to how you prepare them, how you conduct warrior tasks and battle drills, and I couldn't have been prouder of the way it went. In August, we conducted Operation Rainbow Hurricane in conjunction with the 109th Air Wing and the 106th Rescue Wing. We deployed the entire division headquarters from here in Troy all the way to the edge of Long Island. Our practice came in good use later on in September when Hurricane Irene hit. For that event, the 42nd Cab really came up big, providing over 45,000 pounds of food and water delivery to people that were stranded by the storm, as well as providing aerial reconnaissance for the governor. In October, the 27th Brigade went to the National Training Center to conduct their CTC rotation, and the division headquarters sent a large group out to provide HICON. The one event that I am most proud of over the past year is the determination that the soldiers of the 27th Brigade, we here at the division headquarters, and everybody throughout the state of New York did to get the 27th Brigade mobilized. There were a lot of challenges involved with this. We had changes to the MOB date, we had changes to the manning documents, and we even had changes to the mission. But we drove on, and in the end, we mobilized probably one of the most ready brigades that the National Guard has ever deployed.
Throughout 2011, once again, the 53rd Troop Command soldiers demonstrated their professionalism, commitment, and dedication. We deployed soldiers to Afghanistan and Guantanamo Bay. We participated in a training exercise in Mali and brought soldiers home from successful deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. In addition to flood support, our engineers demolished Kings Inn and Kingston to prepare for the Surf P training exercise. They cleared the historic Erie Canal lock in Cohoes and opened a new readiness center at Camp Smith.
The Army National Guard has trained, equipped, and prepared hundreds of soldiers for overseas deployments this past year. We have supported an aggressive soldier readiness program and continue our robust and proactive effort to ensure soldier family readiness. It is not just about getting soldiers ready, it's about taking care of them when they return. Most recently, we've dedicated additional resources to linking soldiers and their families to civilian jobs. We have met the challenges of this past year and succeeded every time. We will face new challenges in the year ahead. The mission of our Air National Guard units will evolve in response to Air Force equipment transfers and funding constraints. The Army National Guard will provide support to the families of the 27th Brigade and other deployed soldiers while training troops for deployments and domestic missions. Our New York Guard and New York Naval Militia will become more integrated in our domestic operations. We are proud of our service to both state and nation. My hope is that you now have a better understanding of what the men and women of the New York Military Forces accomplished in 2011 and why they are considered America's most trusted.